Alright, so this video is not about religion, right? But the main point, the main lesson of this video comes from the story that I'm going to be sharing with you about my life, okay? So, when I was in boot camp, one of the biggest things that I noticed was people who are not really religious suddenly became very, very religious. And, it was very interesting to me. And I would go up to those people and I asked, were you always this religious? And they would always respond, no, I don't know why, but in boot camp, I became very, very religious. And it was for me too. When I was a civilian, I wasn't very religious. And in boot camp, my religious faith became, it reached a new level. Right, but what I noticed also was after boot camp, now in the fleet and after A school, after it plateaued, it just went back down, and now it's at a constant level. Now it's closer, it's higher than it was when I was a civilian. So I always thought, one of the conclusions that I had was, I think when you're in boot camp, when you're in a different environment, you're in an uncomfortable zone, you're physically put into a different standard, mentally, different, challenges and difficulties. A lot of people turn towards religion as a way to communicate with their emotions, and that's how people get attached, and that's how people's religious belief grow for a temporary moment. And then, it just goes back down, sometimes non-existent again, sometimes like me, in a mid-level that's higher than before, but it's not as high, or it's not progressing, right? So that's what I always thought happened. But the other day, I was talking to a lady that's, much more advanced in her years, much more wise and, filled with wisdom, and she was very religious. Right? And like I said before, you can learn something from everybody, sometimes what to do and sometimes what not to do. But in this case, I learned something about myself and how I operate. And if you use this, if you realize how this applies in your life, I believe it's going to give you a huge advantage compared to those who don't understand this within their life. Okay, so let me share with you. So the conversation that I had with this lady got to the point when she asked me, how's your faith? How's your religion? Are you close with the Lord? Are you close with God? And I said, like I said before, hey, when I was in a civilian, my religion wasn't all that great, but I always wanted to be closer with the Lord. But when I went to boot camp, it peaked up. And after that, it kind of, sizzled back down. And when I said that, she said, you cut your distractions. And when she said that, it made complete sense. Right? When you're a civilian, the distractions of life, distractions of your social circle, distraction of the environment around you, prevents you from, focusing on something, focusing on one thing. Your phone, for example, let's say you want to do your math homework for school, right? So you're at it doing your math homework, but, 20 minutes in, you check your phone, and then the distraction, you check your Twitter feed, you check your Instagram, you check YouTube, and all this happens, and you lose 30 minutes of your study time. Now, when you plan to study for an hour, you did it for 20 minutes, now you wasted 30 minutes, now you only have 10 minutes left, right? So there's a lot of distractions in the world, distractions of life, right? But when you are in boot camp, you don't have a lot of distractions. You're in boot camp, you focus on boot camp stuff, and you have a Bible. So a lot of people read their Bible, and you don't have cell phones where you can call outside, talk to your friends, whatever you want. So the distraction is very, very low, right? So you can focus much more on the things that you want to improve, whatever area it might be. For me, when I was in boot camp, I always wanted to focus on the area of improving my religious belief, right? So that happened. Right? Whether sometimes some people plan it or not, it happens because the distractions are cut down and they can focus on few things, because there's not a lot of things you can do in boot camp. You don't have a lot of free time to play games or anything like that, because game is not allowed, right? So you're reading a Bible is allowed, right? So a lot of people choose to read the Bible. So they focus much more on that. But when they finish boot camp, go to A school, and go to the fleet ultimately, the distractions come back, right? Because now you have access to cell phone, internet, and all this kind of stuff. Your new social circle and new social life wherever the military takes you on your adventures, right? So the distractions increase, and so your focus on religion, your focus on any particular part that you want to improve in your life starts to decrease, right? So after she said that made complete sense, right? So my advice to you, the lesson of this video is whatever area you want to improve in your life, whatever area it may be, maybe it's math, maybe it's science, maybe it's grades for school, maybe it's making extra money, or maybe it's focusing on physical training to be fit for military. What I can recommend is cut the distractions and increase your focus. So how do you cut distractions? Some of the ways that I cut distractions that I didn't really realize, I always thought it was just old habits I need to get rid of. Or, for example, watching less TV, watching less, news, watching less, whatever unproductive activity. Okay, unproductive activity is what I define as unproductive activity, as distractions. Now, there is a difference sometimes. Let's say you really enjoy gaming, right? For example, you really enjoy playing a lot of video games, right? Sometimes that could be categorized as a reward, okay? Reward for, doing a good work, or working hard. And let's say you worked out for 2 hours because you want to have a fit body. So you reward yourself with, playing games. So that's different. But when you are watching TV and you're idle, you're not really there, but you're just kind of watching a rerun of Family Guy over and over, a rerun of SpongeBob over and over, that's a wasted time, okay? So cut those type of distractions and increase the focus. Like I always say, focus on few things at a time, okay? I only like to focus on 2 to 3 things at a time in my life, okay? So I hope this video helped. I hope it made sense. Thanks for watching, and I hope you have a great Navy day.